Hi everybody and welcome to another processing video. This is Robin and I had a lot of fun with this one. I've never really done much with my punches before, and so this is kind of a silly picture of me and well, not of my husband, it's a good one of him. But I thought, let's do something different with this page, so I decided to go outside my comfort zone and just play a little bit. So here's a plastic lid with just some sequins and some Flair badges, and then I'm kind of using two little kits together. I had ordered the Feel Again add-on kit from Scraptastic, and then I got the Sprinkle with Love collection by Alison Kreft for Webster's pages from TwoPeas. This background paper, you've seen me use this. It's the Ombre paper I bought at Target. And because I knew the circles would be busy with all the different patterns, so I wanted to make sure that my background paper wasn't so crazy. But you will see on that background paper, if you didn't see it in my last layout, I used a pink color. Well, not my last layout, but in a previous one. It has kind of texture to it. It looked like someone had crumpled it up and then flattened it out again. So I like it. It's a solid color. It's the ombre, so it's the different shades, but it's not a really busy pattern. I really like it a lot. Here I'm just holding up the different individual pieces. So if you like a certain piece of paper, you know who makes it and the name of the paper. Both of these collections, I would really like another sheet of each. I love my papers, and but both of these collections, a lot of them, both sides, I adore. Some of them are just one-sided. I prefer more than the others. So I wouldn't necessarily need two of those, but most of them, yeah, I'm going to need some more sheets. Really, really like them. I just decided to trim down that picture a little bit. We were in the car, and it's flipped around from my phone because he was driving, but it looks like I'm driving. But anyway, rare day. This picture was taken last January, and I had just started nursing school. And I was going like 4 days a week, 8-hour lectures. We had long labs. You're overwhelmed. You're getting your world rocked. And this was just, I can't remember, maybe it was like Martin Luther King Day or something. It was a day off. And I was like, hey, let's go to lunch. And he's like, all right. So we trekked down to Milford to Grotto's Pizza and had a lunch date. And I was feeling a little goofy, so I just started doing silly selfies in the car, and that was it. This wood grain paper right here, it has etched in it you and me, kind of like a couple would walk in through the park and they want to put their initials in a tree. And I was just debating if I wanted the you and me centered in the circle or off to the side. And I chose off to the side because I had an idea of maybe layering part of my picture over it. So my circle punches here, I only have 3. One is a 3.5, that's the largest one I have. Then I have a 2-inch and a 1-inch. I just bought the 1-inch. So I like to turn my circle punch over to see where I'm punching so I can kind of design the circle, so to speak. And this lovebird paper is so cute. And the lovebirds have a design in them, so some of them are polka dotted, some of them are chevroned, but some of this, excuse me, I'm using 2 different types of airplane paper. And on the wings of the paper it says like I love you or XOXO or hi. And then the smaller circle off to the right that's a different airplane paper. And the little wind spin behind the airplane has hearts, like ... and then it forms a heart like it did a little flip in the air and formed a heart. So it's really cute. So I kind of designed how I wanted those cut out. Now I'm just taking out these journaling cards and little file folders because there are some patterns in there which I do have a full sheet of paper, but I wanted to keep that paper whole. So I'm deciding to use some of these file folders and journaling cards for the circles instead of cutting into the full sheet of paper that I wanted to keep. And you can see these journaling cards and the folders are kind of slick. So if you do buy them, I want you to know that a regular pen might smear, so you might want to use a slick writer or something that just doesn't smear, maybe a thin Sharpie or something. This Eternal paper, I think that one came out of the Feel Again add-on kit, and I'm trying to remember what was on the other side. Obviously, it wasn't something I didn't mind using a bunch of I didn't want to map my photo on just black, and I really, really like this. It's called Eternal, and it just has some white, oh, teal hearts. Okay, I do like the teal hearts, but the other half of that paper is enough of the teal hearts for me. So I'm mounting this. It just has some white lines on it, and I really liked it. It was really, really cute. So here we go. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before, really. I kind of messed around with some circle shapes a long time ago. I did a page about my son. He went to a waterhole swimming with his sister and her boyfriend, and they were doing flips off this edge of this like cliff thing. And of course I didn't know about that, but you know, he's a thrill seeker. He's all boy, he's all out. And the top, I think I borrowed that idea from Lilith Eccles, and it's called Thrill Seeker. You can see it if you go to my Facebook page in my albums. I do have an album entitled My Scrapbooking Pages, and then I do belong to Nicole Jones 911 Facebook page. If you're there, I do have an album. It's one of the you have to go back on the albums pages. I was one of the first ones to make an album, so you kind of have to find me. But Robin Vignal Voke is what I am there, and then I do have on TwoPeas Robin Voke. It's all one word. ROBIN V as in Victor OAK, and I have the V capitalized and the R capitalized, but I do have a TwoPeas account with all my scrapbook pages in there too, so if you want to check me out. But yeah, I played around with some circle elements on his page. The other half of it was layering, but this one's all circles, so I decided just laying them down, I wanted them to stand out just a bit more, so I got out my Stays On black ink. I was starting to do my London Fog by Memento, but it wasn't dark enough for some of this wood grain and such, so I pulled out the black, and I really like it a lot. I used to sponge. Most of you, if you were watching my other videos, I had this orange sponge and I cut it into pieces, and I was using that to ink my edges, and I really did like that, but I had to re-ink it often. It's like it was so porous it just sucked right up, and I just recently bought this Tim Holtz holder and then the foam pads for it, and the foam pads hold a lot of ink for a while, so I can dip it or tap it once or twice on my ink pad, and I can do quite a bit before I have to tap it again. So when you're doing a lot, I know it doesn't sound big, but when you're doing a lot of inking, it does save a lot of time. So I'm really glad I purchased that. And right now I just have one tool, so I change out the pads for the different colors. Obviously, I just lay the pad on top of the ink pad, and when I need it, I use that one. Here I'm Elle Studio, these little snippets. I'm in love with these things. They're wonderful for layering. I'm just looking for some more circle elements. I had pulled one off, I was talking, but I had pulled one off of the sticker sheet from the Sprinkle with Love collection. It was the 2 lovebirds. And I think the only one I use out of here, this one's from the Love Notes or something like that. I just use that pink and cream one. It says I Choose You. I thought about using that one, but I already have enough larger circles to use, so just messing around with placement. The only thing I was trying to make sure of is not have 2 patterns directly next to each other, and to have that wood grain paper scattered equally amongst the pages too. And in the end, I do fast forward here in a bit. It does turn out well. I'm realizing I'm getting a little too high on the paper, so I pull everything down just a bit. And I have some of these circles going off the edges, and I really like that. Later on, you'll see me adhering some down, and then when I get almost finished putting them down, I'm like, hey, why am I not popping some of these circles up? So I go back and use some pop dots to elevate some of those circles for interest, and I really liked how that turned out. And I even went and outlined the circles. You'll see that later too, but there we go. I fast forwarded a little bit, so everything's kind of down in place. I'm looking at my viewfinder, realizing that I'm starting to go off, so I'm trying to fix it so I don't lose you guys. And some things had moved around. Things don't have to be perfect, and I'm making it look like they do. That's just my OCD. I wish I had it about my house. I don't, but I have it about my scrapbooking. Oh my goodness. Now that circle I have tucked in above my picture. That one I cut from a scrap from that file folder after I cut out some larger circles, so there is a straight edge on it, so that's why I tucked it in somewhere so you wouldn't see the straight edge. Here we go. We're starting to put some things down. I normally don't take a lot of pictures of myself, but I kind of have lately because my husband's like, you're the one always taking the pictures, you need to be in them as well. And then, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I do a lot of goofy pictures, and it's kind of my personality anyway, but I don't know why I don't take more serious ones. But I was just in a really good mood because it was a day off of school, and I love school, but it, you know, it's pretty stressful, and I was just starting, so I was a little overwhelmed, and, you know, got to spend some time with my husband, so I just felt the need to be funny. My bangs are really short. I'm letting my hair grow out here, so I'm kind of looking back going, I kind of miss my bangs. But when you're dealing with patients, your hair going down in your face can be a hindrance, so I'm trying to grow them out to see if I like that better. It's just a pain in the rumpus. They're in that stage now to where they're too long to keep down, too short to put up, and trying to learn how to style them again is different, but I definitely need to use my punches more. This was fun. And what a way to use your scraps too. I mean, you don't have to go as big with the circles as I did. I just used what I had. But instead of, I do a lot of scraps with strips too, you know, cutting those in different widths and making, you know, little banners or, you know, just different widths of strip paper. But using punches, you know, hearts or butterflies or, you know, your circle, here I go. I get the great idea to start popping some of these up. So I kind of go back a little bit and do, and this was before I thought of outlining the circles as well. I like the edging, but I just kind of felt like I wanted them to stand out just a bit more. So you get more of that floaty feel from them. And this is a page you really don't have to think a lot. It looks like I did, but I do that with everything. But just know that this is very random. You don't have to be a rock star. You know, scrapbooking is whatever you want to do, and it all turns out wonderful because it should be enjoyable to you. Don't worry about what others think about your pages. If they love them, they love them. If they don't, that's okay. As long as you like what you're doing, you know, that's all that matters. Now these little strips I was going to toss, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can make kind of a card doing the same thing. So I'm going to save some of these and have them going off a card maybe or something, or add them to another project, tucking them behind photos or such. So save those. Keep you from punching out a lot more later. But I have some classmates, you know, they're starting to watch my videos. Hi, Nikki. And, you know, they give you the sweetest compliments, and they're like, well, I thought I scrapbooked, but not like, I'm like, stop. Let me show you some of my beginning pages. If you guys want to see them, I'll show them to you. I was using decorative scissors all over my pictures, and I'm just sick about it because I really wish I would that. You know, using decorative scissors on pattern paper to where you can take your picture back off, that's one thing, but when you can't find the copies or the negatives, and you know we're military, we move so much, I'm really trying to find some more copies of those older pictures when my kids were really little so I can kind of redo them, but I'm let me show you some of my beginning pages, and you can see how I've grown. And a lot of it is just developing your own style. Some people like things packed on a page, and sometimes I'm in the mood for that, and I do that. Some people like lots of ink and paint, and I'm just learning that, and I'm really liking that. But some people are very simplistic and minimal things on a page. Maybe it's because that's their style, maybe it's because they don't have a lot, and that's okay. And sometimes I'm in a mood for that as well. So it's whatever strikes your fancy at the moment. Use what you have. You can always go back and add later, but you know, I really thought of maybe going back to my wedding album and making copies and, you know, keeping that album the way it is, because that's part of scrapbooking too, is keeping the memories of making that page. You know, I can remember what I was doing when I was making that page, or where we lived at the time, or, you know, how little the kids were. But still my style has changed, and there's some pictures I'm like, wow, what could I do with that now? And so I might just do that for fun, just lift the picture enough to make a copy of it, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make a little series of then and now. That's what I'll do for something different. You know, take something I've already scrapbooked and keep that, but just do it again 10, 12, 15 years later and see what I come up with. And I'm sure in another 10 or 15 years I'll laugh at these pages I'm making. But I'll always remember when I'm making some of these that I was in nursing school, and, you know, I had a child in college, one a senior, and, you know, my baby just turned 16, and he's driving now, and, you know, I'll remember all this. So, and I know I will never be caught up, and that's okay, because I know I'll always have something to do. I've tried to get my husband down scrapbooking with me. He comes down and sits with me every once in a while and plays with my tools and such. I think he thinks that part's fun, but yeah, he hasn't and if he does scrapbook, I don't know if he'd admit to it. But I told him, I said, I go to crops and I see, you know, they're older men that, you know, they're retired and travel around with their wife. But this man, I see him at every crop, and he's there with his photos. He's a fisherman and hunter and stuff, and that's what he scrapbooks. And he's serious about it, and he does pretty doggone good. So it's a hoot to run into he and his wife. And that's just kind of their thing to do together. So I think that's awesome. Now I asked her if she goes with him, and she said, hell no. Pardon my French, but that's what she said. I said, will he go scrapbooking with you? Do you go hunting and fishing with him? She said, hell no. It was hilarious. They're a funny couple. Okay, so the title I chose was, I really wanted to use that rub-on that said silly. It matched my face, it matched the picture, it matches the feel of the page, and it's the rub-on. So his silly lunch date is what I came up with. And his is from the sticker sheet. It's that wood grain, so that's pulling out the wood grain circles I've used. The silly is the white rub-on. And you saw me messing around with placement on that, and it just really stands out beautifully on this ombre paper. Lunch is in those square tiles, also from that sticker sheet, and it's hard to tell here, but they're kind of ombre. It goes from pink to orange. It's really super cute. So then I brought in the yellow underneath that with the date, with those foam thickers that came in the Feel Again add-on kit. And one side of the thicker pack is pink, and then you flip it over thinking you're getting pink, and you get a beautiful butter yellow. And it just turned out really nice. And it's a fun title. And then I just kind of alternated the words. You know, his is to the left, silly's to the right, lunch is to the left, date is to the right. I was kind of just going based off of the silly and the Y and all that stuff, but I thought it turned out okay. I have so much fun watching everybody's processing videos. It's such a way to relax for me if I'm taking a break from studying, or if it's late at night before I go to bed. I'm not a morning person, but I have to be because of school. So to make myself happy, like I'll get up and I'll have a cup of coffee with my husband, and we're doing the battle of waking my son up because he's 16 and he just does not want to get up out of the bed. And so sometimes I'll start off the day to see if anybody's downloaded a video, and I get so happy when I see that you guys have, but I'm such a stalker on YouTube that I've watched everything, and sometimes multiple times, that I get really happy when something new pops up. So keep them coming because I'm watching them. And I really think it's helped me a lot. I mean, people might laugh when I say that, but with my studying, I was studying 24/7 all the time. I never stopped. I never took a break. I would come home from school. If my kids didn't have a game or a tournament or something, or even if they did, I brought my books. I was the crazy woman up in the stands, trying to read a book. And I was doing so much. I was wearing myself out. I was confusing myself, not confusing myself, but just doing so much that I was confusing myself. So I took a step back and I'm like, Robin, you've got this. You get good grades. You work hard. Just, my husband was telling me, you just don't do things you enjoy anymore. Do that and, see if that doesn't help refresh you a bit. And because nursing school is intense, it's fast-paced, you have to know everything. You can't forget anything. And it's kind of like, when you go into a specialty, whether you work labor and delivery, you don't necessarily remember everything about dialysis or about, certain things. Or if you're in ER, you don't necessarily remember about labor and delivery. And I mean, of course you do some, but peds, all of the different vitals for the different ages of the kids. And if you're in med surg working with adults, you don't necessarily remember that. But when you're in nursing school, you can't forget any of it. And I'm just like, how do you make that all fit into your brain? And I've just come to the conclusion you have to make up little file folders in your brain, file it away, but don't dump it. Just file it away and pull it out when you need it. And it can be very overwhelming. It's extremely worth it. It's something I've wanted to do forever, and but I just have to recharge, and this is helping a lot. Knock on wood. Let's hope I can continue with. I'm testing better. I'm in a better mood with my family and my classmates. Not that I was ever crabby to my classmates. I do get crabby with my family. That's bad, but I'm just a little more energized and ready to take on a day. Now that I'm kind of sticking to a hobby again. It's just finding that balance, And like I said before, doing something like this makes you feel successful when, sometimes, your teenagers get mad at you for things, or, your spouse might ask you to do something and, you're busy and you forget about it and they're looking at you like, he doesn't complain, but you get that look like I talked to you about it this morning, and I'm like, yeah, but I forgot, or maybe you don't test as well or answer a question as well in class. But just creating makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, because there's no right or wrong. That's the beauty of it. No one's mad at you, and then sharing it with other people that have the same love as you. That's exciting. I love these groups I belong to. I've made some pretty good friends already, through Nicole's Facebook page and through YouTube, and for that I'm very thankful. And I've learned a ton just by watching everyone. I'm pulling out a Flair badge there, and it's also wood grain. It has a heart, so I just thought that was lovely. I saw it in TwoPeas and I knew I had to have it. I just didn't know what I was going to use it on. And when I saw that paper, I knew I was going to use it with that paper. Now this bottom piece I've fiddled with a couple times. I laid it down and I put the badge back on that you'll see. And then in the next frame or two, you'll see I tuck it up a little bit more underneath. It was hanging down a little low for me. I'm just checking out to see what else I want to do. Yeah, I tucked it up there a little bit more. Now for journaling, I just wanted to keep it light. There wasn't a whole lot to say, and there was a lot going on in the page. So I think I was using a 0.1 pen, or 0.01, I'm sorry. And it just says, I had a rare day off from nursing school, so Eric and I trekked down to Grotto's Pizza in Milford for a lunch date. And I drew a little heart at the end of that. And I had stamped the date, or the month and the year anyway. I didn't remember the exact date, but I knew it was January time, end of January, or February, beginning of February. So I stamped that on one of those circles. That Life is Better With You is also from that same sticker sheet. And here I'm getting ready. Now, I liked it like that, but I felt I wanted to add a little more gold, and I think white. So I started to spritz a little bit. I held it up high, and I did a couple of squirts, but it was soaking into the page really quick. So then I decided to do that. Nothing works better than diluted white acrylic paint. I mean, I have it. I hear some people find some white that stays really white and it doesn't fade. But you know, I have acrylic white paint. It's just as easy, I guess, to mix some water in it until I can get some of that stuff. But I love this Heidi Swapp Color Shine in gold. Oh, it is lovely. It stays bright and pretty. And I think I'm done. Yes, I am. So I'm just holding it up so you guys can see a little bit of what I did. Thank you so much for watching. You guys leave me the sweetest comments. Please let me know if there's something specific that you would like me to do. I think I'm going to try a couple of those then and now pages, you know, but let me know what you would like to see too. But I appreciate each and every one of you, all the close friends I've made. You guys are very sweet, and thanks for watching. I hope you got a little inspired to try some circles, something new on your pages. And if you do something, please tag me in it. I would love, love, love to see what you came up with. Bye.